Hi, this is Ms. TechFi, and in this video we have the Motorola Triumph for Virgin Mobile, and we're going to start with stock, customize the phone, and go back to complete stock, there and back. This will be a video of basic steps and information. I'm starting with a factory reset phone as there's so many variances of things that can cause problems that I don't want to troubleshoot, and I'll be cutting through frames and fast forwarding through stuff to save time, so please don't judge the boot and load times by what you see here. We'll try to move through this as quickly as possible so you can see the steps. For more detailed information on everything, there'll be links below the video. Before we begin, warning, please do this at your own risk as it could void your warranty. Back up anything that you cannot afford to lose. That includes anything on your microSD card. This is your responsibility. So I've already done it. The first step is the factory reset of the phone, and the reason for that is because you're going to make a backup of the stock and you want it to be factory reset. Next, we're going to go ahead and gather the files that are needed or wanted. The way I'm going to show is just my preference to stay organized, move quickly through things in case something doesn't go as planned, so I'm prepared. So on my computer I make a file and I call it 0, so in the custom recovery it's going to be right there at the top. And within that 0 file, I categorize it by my Froyo Rums, gingerbread, ice cream sandwich, and stock. Anything that's complete stock that I need. I have a copy of the custom recoveries. Now you want to leave these in the zip file. You don't unzip them. Because there's actually two. There's the Clockwork Mod Recovery, and the preferred version is 5.5.0.4. And there's also the Team Win Recovery Project. That one's a touch custom recovery. You do need to at least put one of them on, and then once you do have a custom recovery on, it's very easy to flip back and forth. So go ahead and make your file, download whichever that you want to start with on the custom recovery. I do recommend getting the stock ROM splash image that Brandon14 put up, and with that one is the easiest to get back to stock, and then after that the only thing that you need to do is put your recovery back to stock. So gather the files that you need, and then you're going to transfer that file right onto your SD card. And if you don't know how to do that by now, you shouldn't be doing this just yet. Once you have the files transferred onto your micro SD card, go ahead and power your phone off or pull the battery. And when the phone is powered off, we're going to go into a fast boot. In the fast boot, you're going to hold the volume down button and the power button at the same time, and you're going to see some text come up that says polling. Once you see the text, go ahead and plug your USB data cable that's connected to the computer. So when you plug into the phone and fast boot, you're going to see this folder come up on your computer, and it's the mobile image file. And within it, you have all these files here. The only one that we're going to be working with is recovery. It is wise, just in case, to go ahead and make a copy of these files and save them into another file and back it up. The first thing that you're going to do with the recovery file is you're going to rename it. You can rename it anything that you want. Recovery.old, recovery.stock, and the phone is only going to boot into the one that's named just recovery. So in whichever recovery that you select to use first, go ahead and open up the zip file, and you're going to see a folder, and you're also going to see the recovery disk image file. You only need this one. Just drag it into the mobile phone image and it's going to unzip, or you can unzip it and then drag it into the phone image, the mobile image. And that one is Clockwork Mod Recovery that I put in. Once you have that on there, go ahead and properly disconnect your device, unplug the phone, pull the battery out to get out of the fast boot. So after pulling the battery and putting the battery back in, we're going to go into recovery mode and boot into the custom recovery that's on here. So volume up and down together and power button, and you're going to hold all three together. Try to get the volume up and down first and then the power button. First initial buzz. If you don't hear that, you've been holding it for a while, go ahead and pull the battery, hold the power button in for about 10 seconds, put the battery back in and try again. Another thing that you can do as well is if you're having trouble with it not booting, you can also pull the battery, plug the phone into the computer and wait for it to say unrecognized device, then disconnect it, put the battery back in and try again. So this is Clockwork Mod Recovery. I'm just going to show you here with the ROM. The first thing you're going to do is the factory data reset when you're going to do a custom ROM. and then you're going to go into advanced. So it's volume up and down to navigate and use the menu to select, and then you would go down to wipe debit cache. The one I'm going to be working with is the TeamWin recovery project, just because most people have seen the Clockwork mod recovery. So like I said, I'm going to show you how you can flip back and forth between the custom recovery. We have the zip file within the phone, so I'm going to go ahead and go install from SD card, choose file. You can see there's my 0 folder at the top, and I place that in the custom recovery file, and here they are. And let's go to TeamWin, select, go down to confirm, and with this one we're going to power off, and then we're going to go back into custom recovery. Volume up and down, power button, first initial buzz. So here we're in the TeamWin recovery project, and once you're in your custom recovery, I know I just flipped back and forth. Once you're in the custom recovery, you want to go ahead and make your backup. So go ahead and swipe at the bottom to back up. Okay, your backup is made. These also here, you can go back, you can see the log or home. Okay, so if you were to restore your backup, you just go to restore and you select the backup that you want to restore. But we're going to go ahead and boot back into the system, and we're going to go over rooting and uninstalling pre-installed app on your stock ROM. So reboot to system, just tap it once, give it a second or two, and it will reboot into the system. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to root the phone. If you already have Gingerbreak 1.20 on your phone, just use a file manager and go in and access it that way. The other way is you can get it straight from the internet and download it. So here in the XDA forum, you scroll down and you're going to see the files there. Let's go ahead and enlarge it. This is where you're going to click to download. I think some people make the mistake and click over here and it's not downloading for them. So I'm going to click to download. While that's downloading, the next step is you're going to go into your settings, applications, put a check mark next to unknown sources, go into development, put a check mark next to USB debugging. Okay, back that out of there. Our download is complete. Let's go ahead and install, and we're going to install Gingerbreak, and this is an easy root. So let's go ahead and root the device, and it's going to go ahead and reboot, and when it boots back up it'll be rooted. We are booted back in and we are rooted, and so the first thing you're going to need to do is update your super user. So go ahead and click update. So next I'm going to show you removing pre-installed apps, if that's all that you want to do. Go get Titanium Backup, and you do have to be rooted to do this. Go ahead and install it. And I do have the Pro version, but I'm just going to show you the free version and open Titanium Backup. And you're going to need to allow. Okay, go into the top part where it says Backup and Restore, and there'll be a list under the video of which ones are safe to remove. But I'll just show you RG Chat. If you do a quick tap, it's going to bring up one menu for uninstall, backing up, and you have to have, I'll show you here, you have to have the Pro version to go ahead and freeze. That's a safe way to do it. Now you can make a backup of it, but this is why we backed it up in the custom recovery, because if your phone doesn't boot, those backups in the Titanium Backup is not going to do you any good to put the pre-install apps back on the phone. Go ahead and uninstall if that's what you want to do, remove the bloatware. Virgin Mobile Live is another one that you can remove. Now if you do a long hold, it's going to bring up another menu, but I'm just going to uninstall. And it's just reminding me to make a backup if I need to, but I've already done that in the custom recovery. Okay, back it out here. You can see AirG Chat is gone and Virgin Mobile Live is gone. Also with Titanium Backup, you can create a widget and go into Action and choose Reboot the Device, create the widget, and from here you can reboot into custom recovery mode. So we're back in here, and the other thing that you can do with the other thing you can do to customize this ROM more to your liking is to put in a kernel, and with that one you can also overclock. So here I have some kernels, and the latest one out for the B kernel is 2.3. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to, this is going to install the zip, so I'm going to slide to continue. Reboot to system. So we're rebooted back into the system, and now that I have the other kernel on, I'm going to go ahead and install voltage control. So go ahead and allow. Okay, so from within here, you can control the minimum and the maximum of your CPU. You can set your I/O schedule or your CPU governor, and whichever one you choose depends on if you want to be battery conscious, if you want to be performance only, or if you want to balance between both. The definitions of what each one of these are in here will be in a link down below the video. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. So after installing the kernel, normally the Motorola Triumph complete stock gets anywhere from 1500 to 1700 on the quadrant standard score. Just with the kernel with no overclocking, the score total is 2088. Try not to overclock your CPU over 1500. You want to be careful when overclocking your CPU, as you can kill your phone. So let's go ahead and install a custom ROM, very much like the B ROM, but for that one I found that I was in a loop boot if I didn't put it back to stock and just do a Dalvik cache wipe. For the B ROM, because I was already stock, I'm just going to do the Dalvik cache wipe and install. Let's go into Froyo ROM. And the reason with Froyo is the HDMI out works on those customized ROMs and the camera. So the one thing I like about the Team 1 recovery project is if I wanted to add more zips, like if I wanted to queue them in an order that I wanted them to install, I can go ahead and add another zip. And then when I was done queuing, you can queue up to 10, then I would confirm to flash and it would do them all in the order that I put them. Okay, that's done. Let's go ahead and boot to system. Okay, B ROM is booted up. Very nice menus. I'm not really doing a review on the ROMs. You have your controls up top. I'm just going to flip through and quickly show you. And let's go ahead and boot back into recovery. And I didn't show some of the things in this Team 1 recovery project. In here you can set the time zone. You can see there's the clock up here, and then you can also see the battery percentage. Okay, so let's go ahead and install another ROM. Let's go ahead and do the factory data reset. Wipe the Dalvik cache. Go into install. So here we're in the Ginger Sharp 2.2 version 1 that Mobster Guns posted, and it's based off of BSYDZ, the Froyo Sharp ROM that he put up, and it's based off of the Sharp model number SH8188U, which is a phone that was released overseas that is the sister to the Triumph. This is just wonderful. It brings new love to the phone. I believe they have to get the MMS working. If you receive an MMS, it comes up as from a bunch of nines. It's 10 nines in a row. And then it's a bunch of symbols. It's garbled symbols. If anybody has ever had the BlackBerry 8530, you know that from certain phones, you would receive that on the BlackBerry 8530. And what it was happening with that was it was just the way it was directing it incorrectly. It was putting it in the SMS folder instead of the MMS folder, so it wasn't able to read certain MMS correctly that was on the BlackBerry 8530. So I wonder if that's the same issue here with the MMS, that it's redirecting it incorrectly. So here we have the menus. Within the Motorola Triumph, if you go into location and security, you can see that within the stock ROM, there is nowhere for you to turn the assisted GPS on. Within the Sharp ROM, you can enable assisted GPS. So this shows right here that Motorola royally screwed up when they did not add that, because the phone, I believe, is advertised to have assisted GPS, but there's no way to enable it. Alright, so I'm going to show you what that can do, and no, I am not using wireless networks. So let's go ahead and run GPS test. Look at that lock. I have never had my Triumph lock so quickly, even on a low signal. This brings new love to my Triumph. You're not able to install the custom kernels because it's not based off the Triumph kernel. So I believe they're working on that. With this ROM within the market, it's showing that it is a Sharp phone, but everything installs just fine. Just to give Clockwork Mod some love, it's tried and true. I'm going to switch over to Clockwork Mod and install a custom ROM. And we're here in the Clockwork Mod. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is the wipe data factory reset. And we have to go down to confirm and go into advanced, wipe Davit cache, confirm, and let's go to install zip from SD card, and let's do the CM7 TG reloaded. So go back to install zip from SD card. You're also going to have to put in sign market. The gingerbread sign market is different from the ice cream sandwich sign market. There are different versions that are needed. Okay, we're booted into the gingerbread CM7. And I'm going to go ahead and skip signing in, just so we can show. And let's go into ice cream sandwich. Alright, I went ahead and changed the custom recovery back to TeamWin just so that I could show you the queuing of the zip files. So let's go ahead and okay, now install. And then I'm going to go ahead and add more zips, back it up, mark it signed, and then I have 2 in my queue, and then it's just going to do it all for me. If you have trouble installing queuing in a kernel, so if there's an updated kernel and you queue it in, just try installing them one at a time, or installing and booting into the OS and then go back into the custom recovery and update the kernel. Reboot to system. Okay, we're booted in on CM9 ice cream sandwich. And you can enter your name, but I'm not going to do that. Let's skip over that. So just to show you here, the camera is not working. So I really hope that they get that working soon. You can contribute to their coffee fund. So now that we're done here, if you were going to go ahead and go from CM7 or CM9 back down to Froyo, you want to make sure that you use the Deodex or go back to stock before doing that. But now we're going to go ahead and take the phone back to stock. I want to mention that in using custom ROMs, you want to factory reset from within the recovery and not from within the operating system. And if at first you don't succeed or have to send it back, take it back to stock. So if with the Brandon 14 stock ROM with splash image, we can take it back to stock and it will replace the stock image all in one zip. Then the last thing that you have to do after this is to take the custom recovery off and put it back to stock recovery. Okay, we are back to stock. Now before you do any customizing, I forgot to mention, if you haven't already activated your phone, you need to make sure that your phone is activated. So the last thing that we need to do to make it full stock is to do the stock recovery. So for that we're going to have to go into fast boot, so go ahead and power off the phone. Volume down, power button, connect the USB data cable. Then up on your computer you'll see the mobile image. Go into that. For the one that's named Just Recovery, that's going to be your custom recovery. Go ahead and delete it. The one that's named recovery.old or recovery. Whatever you wanted to name it, go ahead and rename that to Just Only Recovery. Properly disconnect your device. Unplug the phone from the USB data cable. So remove the battery to take it out of fast boot. Put the battery back in and let's verify. So volume up and down together and then power button. And we have the stock recovery. This was only meant to be a brief summary of what to do to complement what you would be reading in the forums. And hopefully, if you were a little nervous in trying this, but you've always wanted to, this might help you along. Very important to read in the forums. Most of the questions that you have already been asked and answered. Check for ROM update and updated information throughout the forum. Please do personally go into the forums and thank the people for the hard work that they do. Some are set up with PayPal so that you can make a donation to them. At least buy them a cup of coffee.